What's up everyone, Zach Drake here and welcome to episode 1 of the 5-part Q&A series. We're going to range questions from youth soccer to teen soccer to college soccer to pursuing a professional career abroad and then eventually playing pro. And I thought it would be a lot better to do a little face-to-face or face-to-camera to make it a little bit more intimate than me just typing it out in a DM. Now before this video begins, don't forget to like and subscribe and write down any questions you have in the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer them. Without further ado, let's get started. Episode 1, we're going to start with youth soccer. I'll be going over questions about my youth career and how I began my whole process of becoming pro from a very young age. Question 1, how did you become interested in soccer? My dad, he was actually a really good soccer player for his age when he grew up in Ottawa playing. Unfortunately, he didn't have a very good pathway to professional soccer like many Canadians back in the day. So he made the best of it, playing at a high level in his city, province, playing some tournaments here and there, some in the US. And eventually he ended up having my older brother and me and started coaching us and showing us what soccer culture is and showing us the game that we now love. Question 2. How long have you been playing the sport? I've been playing since I could say maybe 4 years old. I remember my first year playing house league was around age 6 or 7, but before that, since my brother is 2 years older than me, I was able to kick a ball around or enjoy soccer at his training sessions. Maybe I got involved as early as 4 or 5 years old. Question 3. Did you play house league? Competitive? Did you win a lot of trophies? I played house league for 1 year. We were called the Green Dragons and we won every game, but that wasn't the fun part. The fun part was having oranges at halftime and trading Pokemon cards after. Then I played Premier in Ottawa, which was the highest level of competitive soccer you could play at the time. And my team ended up going to lots of tournaments in specifically Ontario and Quebec. And yes, we did win a bunch of trophies from Belleville, Pembroke, Gloucester, the Icebreaker tournament, Laval, Aaron Mills tournament. So we got a lot of accolades, but that wasn't the best part, I guess. The best part was going out and enjoying soccer and learning a ton. Question 4, who inspired you? Favorite player, team? I had a lot of influence from David Beckham, Zinedine Zidane, some midfield role players, Deco, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, some Brazilian players, and I actually really liked Del Piero. As far as team, I grew up watching Arsenal in my house. Question 5, did you always play in your own age group growing up, or did you play up? How did it feel? I was lucky enough to have an older brother who was 2 years older than me, and he was a great soccer player too. Now, my dad, he actually coached both my team and my brother's team, which helped us since we came from a little bit of a lower income family and we couldn't afford to pay for a lot of soccer expenses. So my dad would be the coach and therefore we would actually get to play for free. That said, I was able to join my brother's team whenever they went on tournaments. I remember one specific tournament in Laval where we won the tournament. I have the medal to prove it, and I got to play with them. But specifically, there was one situation where there was a really high ball that came in from a goalkeeper's kick, and I headed it, and everyone went, oh, and they thought since I was such a small kid that, it rattled my brain and that I was concussed or something like that. So who knows, maybe I have some brain damage, but that's all good. It comes with this sport. How did it feel? Well, I think it's a really important step to playing soccer at a higher level. It's challenging yourself. So playing with players who are better than you, stronger, bigger, faster than you, it's always going to help you get to the next level. So I really got to experience that even just playing at home against my brother who was, bigger, faster than me and a lot tougher than me at the time too. Question 6. Which countries have you played in as a kid? So throughout my youth career, I stayed primarily in Ottawa. I was able to play in different tournaments around the province of Ontario and also Quebec. But for the most part, I stayed there. Some tournaments in Toronto, some around Montreal. Until around age 13, that's where I got an opportunity to go to France in an international tournament with the team. I was a call-up player and it was awesome to be selected for that. So I really got to experience what soccer was like in Europe for the first time and playing against these youth academies from pro teams with these huge players who may or may not have been U13. They looked more like 16-year-olds. But that's what happens is when you get out of your little comfort zone and see what happens outside of it, you realize, hey, there are a lot of people who have been training harder than you, working on it, who are better than you, faster, and you really have to step your game up once you find that out. Question 7, did you always play the right back position? If not, what other positions have you played? I haven't always played right back. At a very young age, I remember playing all over the field, some defense, some midfield, and a little bit of attacking, I remember. And there was even a little phase I had with youth soccer where I thought goalkeeper was for me, but I guess I'm not crazy enough. As far as my main position growing up, I do remember playing a little bit more defensively and as a center midfield role. And that kind of developed as my main position, center midfield, lots of running, connecting passes, so on and so forth. Question 8, what were your favorite cleats back then? Again, I didn't grow up with a whole ton of money. Most of my cleats were hand-me-downs or bought from Play It Again Sports or maybe even a thrift shop. But I do remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, the best cleats were the Adidas Predators, the ones that Zidane and David Beckham wore. And I was lucky enough to have a couple pairs handed down to me from my brother. And those were my favorite. Question 9, how did you develop skills at home? What helped you develop the most as a kid? So I used to train in my basement, in my driveway, and in my backyard. In my basement, I would do a lot of passing against my couch and dribbling around cones, specifically 2 cones, doing a figure 8, getting lots of touches on the ball. And my family in our driveway, we loved to play soccer tennis. It was always fun playing against my dad or my brother, learning how to get touches in the air, juggling, all that fun stuff. And in my backyard, just typical shooting the ball around, playing with friends, or playing 1v1 against my brother. And last but not least, question 10. What has been your proudest moment on the field? It probably has to be during a winter season game. So we played in a dome at Lansdowne Park, and it was my mom's birthday, and I scored a goal and said, "Happy birthday, Mom." And it's just a funny thing because nowadays she holds it really near and dear to her heart. She loves telling everyone that story. So for me, it's really special, and it just goes to show it's not about all the trophies you win, but it's about, family, the experiences you have, and more or less just having fun. So that's it for Q&A episode 1. We're going to move on to my teenage years, playing in Brazil, all that fun stuff coming up next. But make sure you like and subscribe and send me a comment for any questions that you have below. Thanks for watching. Cheers.